Don't be dramatic, honey, his sister smirked over the speakerphone. If he wanted you, he wouldn't have picked you last. Be grateful you even got a ring. 2 beats of silence lodged in my throat like glass. The apartment hummed with the refrigerator's soft growl, the cheap ceiling fan clicking like a metronome counting down my patience. My chest felt tight, like someone cinched a ribbon behind my ribs and pulled until breathing became a negotiation. I stared at the velvet ring box on the table, sparklet by a slice of afternoon sun, like it could answer for him. Like it could apologize. Why everyone my name is Lake in peace. I had convinced myself that silence keeps love safe. I was wrong. I tell stories for a living, weddings, commercials, little films that make strangers feel seen, but I missed the signs in my own frame. The night he proposed, I felt a clean, uncomplicated joy. Today, I feel static everywhere. It started with the ping, one simple notification while I was editing color on a bride's veil. I glanced at my phone and saw it. My fiancé, Liam, posted on his feed after months of barely posting. He was laughing, sprawled on a leather couch. And on his lap, comfortably like a memory that never packed its suitcase, sat his ex. Her cheeks tilted toward him. His hand rested on her knee like it had never left. The caption, "Old memories are hard to forget." I tried to swallow, but grief has texture, gritty, chalky, mean. My thumb hovered over the screen, scratching at the corner of a non-existent smudge. The ring on my finger flashed back a thin line of light, a lighthouse from a shore that didn't exist. I turned the band, felt the notch where the prongs catch on sweaters, remembered the day we chose it together, the clerk saying, "This one is timeless." Timeless. What a cruel word when time suddenly breaks. "Lakin, you okay?" my best friend texted. "I'm fine," I lied. I opened the Marketplace app. The cursor blinked in the title bar like it was daring me to breathe. My pulse timed itself to that blink. I set the velvet box on a plain white background, the kind I use for product shoots, and took a photo, clean, bright, undeniably real. Title, "Engagement Off." Ring for sale, make an offer. My hands shook, but steadiness is a choice, too. I added the carrot, the cut, the clarity. I added our story without saying a word. I hit list. The post whooshed into the world. And then my phone lit up with a name I didn't expect, claws already in her throat, the screen screaming before she did, his, calling. Her mother's voice cracked through the speaker before I could even inhale. "Lakin, what have you done? You embarrassed our entire family. Do you have any idea how this looks?" Her panic came out like static, shrill, rushed, drowning in self-preservation. I didn't answer at first. I just watched the little listing active banner glow on my phone screen, soft and golden, like justice finally had a color. "Mrs. Collins," I said calmly, "maybe you should ask your daughter what she did." Silence. A rustle. Then the sharp breath of realization. "Oh my God, she told me it was an old photo. You sold the ring." "No, I said. I listed it. Someone already made an offer though." The line went dead. I stared at the phone like it was a mirror. My reflection looked too still, too calm. That's the thing about heartbreak, it doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just hums quietly, rearranging everything you thought you were. A new message flashed on my screen. It was Liam. "Liam, you're making a fool of yourself. Take that down. Now." I didn't reply. I clicked on the photo again, the one where he was holding her like a favorite mistake, and wondered how long he'd kept it. Long enough to miss her. Long enough to post it while wearing my ring on his finger in that picture. I hadn't noticed it at first, but there it was, the same platinum curve I'd once called eternal. Another message. "Liam, this is immature. I'll come over and talk." "Emmy, don't. The ring's busy being admired by honest people." I put the phone face down. The apartment suddenly felt too full, of ghosts, of versions of me that kept waiting for him to grow up. Outside, rain started ticking against the balcony glass, steady and rhythmic, like applause from the universe. And then, another buzz. My post had reached the local trending tab. Over 200 shares. A comment read, "Good for you, girl. Sell it. Freedom's worth more than a diamond." I smiled for the first time in weeks. And somewhere across town, He was about to break something that wasn't mine anymore. By morning, my phone was a battlefield, missed calls, texts, and screenshots from mutual friends who had seen the listing before it disappeared from the feed. "Bro, is this about you?" One of his buddies had commented under the post before it went viral. Someone else added, "Old memories can stay in the past and be pawned, apparently." I sat at my kitchen counter, coffee in hand, scrolling through chaos like a quiet spectator at my own trial. My reflection in the darkened screen looked like a stranger who'd finally stopped explaining herself. Then came the knock. 3 sharp raps, impatient. I knew that rhythm. I didn't move. The knocking grew harder. "Lakin, open the door." His voice, strained, defensive, slightly panicked. I took one slow breath, set down my mug, and opened the door just enough for his face to appear through the gap. He looked exhausted, jaw clenched, eyes wild from a sleepless night. The first thing he said wasn't an apology. "You humiliated me." "Did I?" I whispered. "Or did you just let people see what you really are?" He stepped closer, but I didn't back away. The smell of his cologne, the same one from our engagement night, now felt like static in my lungs. He looked at the coffee table where the ring box had been. "Empty." "Where is it?" he demanded. "Out there," I said softly, pointing toward the open window. "In the world. Like your dignity." He exhaled hard. "You know what? You're overreacting. It was an old picture, Lakin. You don't understand context." I tilted my head, studying him. "Context? Like how you liked her post at 3 a.m. Or how your caption matched hers word for word from 2 years ago." His face froze. He hadn't realized I'd noticed. For a moment, silence replaced air. Then I said what I'd rehearsed in my head all night. "You taught me something valuable, how to sell lies at market price." Before he could respond, my phone buzzed again. Notification: "Congratulations. Your item has received a full price offer." I smiled, slow and deliberate. For the first time, he looked cheap. He froze at the sound of the notification, eyes flicking toward my phone like it had just detonated. "What did you do, Lakin?" he hissed. I lifted the screen so he could see. "Sold the symbol, Liam. Turns out it was worth more in cash than in promises." He stepped inside despite me not asking him to. The air between us felt heavy, like the humidity before a thunderstorm. He ran his hands through his hair, pacing like a man searching for an exit in his own mistake. "You can't just sell something that means." "What? Commitment? Loyalty? Honesty?" I cut in, my voice calm but trembling somewhere deep inside. "You already traded those for nostalgia and an Instagram caption." He blinked, jaw tight. "You're being vindictive." "No," I said, setting my mug down gently on the counter. "I'm being equal." He scoffed. "You think this makes you look strong? Everyone's talking about it. My mom's hysterical. People are calling me accountable." I offered. His eyes darkened. "You always twist things." Maybe I did. But this time, truth didn't need twisting. It had posted itself. I walked to the window, watching raindrops bead and race down the glass. "I wanted to spend my life with you," I said quietly. "But apparently, I was just a temporary password until you remembered the old one." He stood behind me, breathing uneven. I didn't turn around. "Take the rest of your things, Liam. Today. I don't want leftovers of love lying around." He muttered something under his breath, maybe an insult, maybe a regret, and slammed the door on his way out. The echo lingered, folding into the rhythm of the rain. Minutes later, another ping. Buyer message: "Hi. I can pick up the ring today if you're available. Cash payment." I typed back, "Yes. Noon works." Then I caught my reflection in the window again, hair messy, eyes swollen, lips trembling into something between pain and power. For once, I didn't feel like a woman abandoned. I felt like a woman finally finished pretending she wasn't angry. By noon, the city had settled into a wet quiet. The kind of grey stillness where time slows and every thought echoes louder than it should. I waited near the cafe across from my building, the ring box tucked inside a small paper bag, folded twice like a secret ready to be handed away. The buyer, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a teenage daughter, approached me under a yellow umbrella. "You must be Lakin," she said, her voice soft. "It's beautiful, may I?" I opened the box. The diamond caught the muted daylight and threw it back at us, bright and unapologetic. The girl whispered, "Wow," like she was seeing her first comet. "Is it for you?" I asked gently. She blushed, shook her head. "For my mom. My dad's buying it for her birthday. They lost her ring years ago." Something in my chest shifted. Pain recognized purpose, just for a second. "Then it's going exactly where it belongs," I said. The woman counted the bills with care, slid them toward me. "Whatever this ring carried before," she murmured, "it's leaving with peace now." Peace. The word hit differently. After they left, I stood there with the money in my hand, realizing it wasn't about revenge anymore, it was about recovery. I walked back upstairs, every step feeling lighter. But when I reached my door, a single envelope was waiting on the mat. My name written in his handwriting. Inside. "You made your point. But if you wanted to destroy me, congratulations, you did. I lost my job this morning because my boss's wife saw the post. You could have just called me. Now everyone thinks I'm trash." No apology. No ownership. Just blame wearing guilt's mask. I read it twice, then slid it into the drawer with my old receipts. A perfect place for things that once mattered. Then my phone buzzed again, this time from an unknown number. A message. "Unknown, Lakin? It's her. The girl in the photo. You deserve to know the truth. Liam lied to both of us." The world tilted. The room went silent except for my heartbeat whispering, "Open it." My fingers hovered above the screen, the way they used to hover over him before I realized touch doesn't equal truth. I opened the message. I didn't know he was engaged. "He told me you two broke up months ago." The picture? It was from last year. He sent it to me last week saying it never got posted. "I thought it was harmless, until your post blew up. I'm sorry, Lakin. You didn't deserve that." I stared at the text for a long time. The words blurred as my throat tightened. She wasn't the villain. She was another version of me, believing him, trusting the practiced sincerity in his tone. I typed back slowly. "Emmy, thank you. He always made dishonesty sound poetic." She replied almost instantly. He told me you were controlling. That you didn't let him breathe. I see now that's his pattern, make good women doubt themselves. I left him this morning." A strange calm settled over me, heavy and warm. Betrayal often feels like drowning, but this moment, this solidarity, felt like learning to float. I sent her a final message. "Emmy, you did the right thing. Don't let him rewrite your worth." Then I put my phone down and let silence do what words never could, heal. Hours passed. Rain turned to gold outside as evening crept in. I lit the candle on the counter, the one that always burned beside the ring box. Only now, the box was gone. The flame wobbled, casting one flicker of reflection across the framed photo of us at the beach. I lifted the picture, studied our smiles. Two people pretending love was enough. Then, with a slow exhale, I slid the photo into the same paper bag where the ring had been. Tied it shut. It was strange, letting go doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like breathing for the first time without someone else's hand on your lungs. And just as I exhaled that thought, my phone buzzed again, this time, with a notification from a news alert. Trending, local post about broken engagement inspires thousands, ring for sale woman becomes symbol of self-worth. My hands trembled. My story had found its own audience. I scrolled through the article, my heart alternating between disbelief and relief. The headline photo was mine, the same ring image I'd taken on the kitchen table. Except now, beneath it, the caption read, "When pain turns to power." My inbox overflowed with messages from strangers. Women, men, even one from a jeweler offering to appraise the story, not the diamond. One woman wrote, "Thank you for reminding me that self-respect is priceless." Another said, "Your courage made me return the ring I kept hidden in a drawer for 5 years." I didn't cry. I just stared at the screen, realizing something subtle but irreversible. The narrative no longer belonged to him. It belonged to every person who'd been told to just forgive and move on. Then my phone rang again. Liam. I let it ring out once, twice, 3 times, until silence folded over it like a curtain. A moment later, a voicemail pinged. I pressed play. Lakin, please. I saw the article. My boss wants to meet. They're threatening to suspend me for public misconduct. You have no idea what you've done to my life. I'm begging you to fix it, delete it, or call someone, or something. I can't lose my job over a stupid mistake. His voice cracked on stupid mistake. I stared at the blinking play symbol, his voice still echoing faintly in my head. Once, that sound could melt me. Now, it just sounded small. I walked to my desk, took out an envelope from the drawer, the one where his first letter still sat, the "You destroyed me" one. I placed this new note beside it, folded both together, and slipped them into a showbox. The box where I used to keep love letters. This time, it held lessons. Then I wrote a short post under the trending thread. Sometimes, closure doesn't come in private. Sometimes, it needs light to disinfect the wound. Within minutes, it hit 10,000 likes. The world wasn't mocking me anymore. It was listening. And for the first time, I felt that rare, quiet kind of revenge, the one that doesn't burn bridges. It just outshines them. By the next morning, the storm had passed, outside and inside. The air smelled like wet pavement and second chances. I sat on the balcony, coffee in hand, watching sunlight crawl slowly up the edges of the buildings like forgiveness arriving late but steady. My story had gone viral. People were calling me the Ring Girl, some with admiration, some with judgment, but it didn't matter. For once, I wasn't defending myself in someone else's narrative. I was living mine. A text came through. Unknown number again. The ex he just texted me. Said he's going to therapy. Said you broke him. I smiled faintly. Emmy, maybe breaking is the only way some people finally look at their pieces. I placed the phone down. Across the balcony, the neighbor's little boy was blowing bubbles, laughing as they floated away and doused in sunlight. I thought about how fragile they looked, how they existed only for a few seconds but reflected the whole sky while they lasted. Maybe love was like that. Maybe that was okay. I went inside and opened my laptop. The money from the ring had cleared. I transferred part of it to a new account labeled Beginnings Fund. Then I clicked open a blank document and typed. Title, When Closure Costs a Diamond. It would be my first personal short film. Real. Unfiltered. Human. Halfway through writing the opening monologue, my doorbell rang. A delivery, flowers. No note. Just a white card that read, "You deserved honesty." The handwriting wasn't his. It was hers. I placed the bouquet in a glass jar, not a vase. Vases are for display. Jars are for keeping things real. As the light shifted across the room, I realized I hadn't thought about the ring once that day. Or him. Only about what came next. Because sometimes revenge isn't destroying what hurt you. It's rebuilding yourself so beautifully that the past can't recognize you anymore. I took one last sip of my coffee, opened the window wide, and whispered to the air, "Thank you for teaching me goodbye." And just like that, the story was